Yeah, they're probably getting pissy.
Getting owly. Saying, all right, economic boys.
All right, yeah, we got to stop the chit-chatting and get the After Schrock going.
Sunday morning show.
All righty, folks. Welcome in. Sorry about that. Roger and I got into an interesting conversation about inflation, and so we were discussing some things, and whether or not inflation is actually a necessary thing. Like, do you need inflation? Like, the Fed wants 2% inflation. My position was, well, the Fed just wants to steal 2% of your money every year. That's all. Just a 2% tax. It's fine. But the 17% is outrageous. How we feel like we're serfs. As like I said, it's like serfdom, where we're paying the lord of our land a percentage of our harvest for their protection and their oversight, and we don't have a choice. You always have a lord of the land, and if you displease the lord of the land, he can take your land. And it's like I feel like we're in this feudal times here where we just got to take it, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's no place to hide. There's no alternatives. You can't go off on your own. You can't go off and live in a mountain cabin. Heck, you can't even go to Yellowstone anymore. Lucky we went when we did. Oh my goodness. So I apologize it took so long. We kind of got into it there a little bit. I was like, oh shoot, we better get into the aftershock. It's been 11 minutes. Oh golly. All right, so we're going to give everybody a couple seconds to get connected. Good morning, Ronald. Good to have you. Mary, thanks for being here. Deb, thank you for Happy Father's Day. I appreciate it. Good morning, Winston. Loanne, good to have you. Roger. There's Lee. Loaning crypto is like loaning a hammer to a neighbor. You don't get either one back. All right, so let's jump right into this crypto thing because, oh my gosh, it is a flipping bloodbath. Okay, so first of all, what's happening? So what we have right now is market contagion causing a cascading failure of the business model. The business model was DeFi. And so the trouble here is there are still good, stable DeFi projects that are out there, distributed finance, but the vast majority of them are shells. Right? So let me give you an example of how this works. A company that I work with or had worked with before they got shut down by the government was BlockFi. I have a BlockFi credit card. I get paid Bitcoin rewards every time. I'm going to get some fat Bitcoin rewards this month. Every time I use my card, I get my reward points in Bitcoin. BlockFi was paying interest if you deposited crypto with them. So you could take your Bitcoin or your Ethereum, deposit it at BlockFi, give them custody of the coin, and they would pay you an interest rate back on top of your principal, right? They would then take that coin, those assets, and they would use them to lend to other people. Okay? So now, and by other people, I don't mean like, Joe Blow wants to go buy a sweater, so he's going to go borrow some crypto money. What I mean is they were lending it to other companies and other projects, other DeFi projects. So then you had other companies that were going out and saying, okay, I'd like to borrow $1 million, and here's $1 million or $1.5 million in Bitcoin to secure my loan. Okay? So they borrow the money. They deposit the Bitcoin as collateral. They take the borrowed money and they buy more Bitcoin. And then they deposit the Bitcoin as collateral to borrow more money. And then they buy more Bitcoin. And then they deposit that money as collateral. And they just keep flipping it and flipping it and flipping it. And they're increasing the leverage, right? Well, BlockFi says, okay, you're making your payments on your loans. We have all this Bitcoin as collateral. Everything is right with the world. Thor is getting his interest money. Everything is great. Now, all of a sudden, the price of Bitcoin dips. The Luna coin, which had nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's some junky alternate coin. It was a stable coin. How to explain this quickly and easily. The idea behind this, most stable coins are issued by a centralized organization, and that centralized organization is required to keep $1 in the bank for every dollar of stablecoin. So literally, it's a dollar for dollar relationship. So there's no reason the price should ever move much from $1, like a fraction of a penny maybe, but not much, right? Somebody came up with the idea that we could create an automated stablecoin that had a stablecoin here and then what I'll call a crap coin over here called Luna. And the crap coin, the amount of crap coin in circulation goes up or down based on the amount of stablecoin in circulation. So people will buy the Luna coin, and as the demand for Luna goes up or down, that can be basically as demand for the stablecoin goes up or down, they will either expand or contract the amount of Luna in the market. And when they contract the supply of Luna, it should cause the price to go up, keeping the two currencies pegged together. Because if the price of the stablecoin gets way down, the amount of Luna will get so restricted that it will become so valuable that people will pay more money for it, right? Well, it didn't work. It blew up. $40 billion worth of blow up. Like, it was a lot of people were invested in this. And that started the contagion. So then what ended up happening is people like BlockFi, who had lent money, said, you know, the price of Bitcoin is down $10,000, so now the 1.5 million in Bitcoin you deposited with us to guarantee your $1 million loan is not sufficient collateral to guarantee your loan. So either you have to give us more collateral, or we're going to have to collect the loan. We're going to have to take repayment of the loan and give you your collateral back. Well, the companies don't have any more money to kick in. They're broke. So they're like, we can't cover that. So we're calling your loan. We're going to liquidate all your collateral to go pay the proceeds of the loan. So BlockFi then sells 1.5, the equivalent of what would be $1.5 million worth of Bitcoin. Boom, hits the market, which causes the price of Bitcoin to go down, which causes the next margin call, which causes the next margin. You get it in a loop, right? Where each time, each leg down causes more margin calls. So the lower it goes, the worse it gets. And it's not going to stop until all the leverage is gone, or we get to the point where there's only responsible levered players left. Because, of course, when you're levering up like that, you need to also be buying basically insurance bets that if the price of Bitcoin were to drop too low, you know, you're not in trouble. You're not dead. But these guys are running naked. They're just literally going, and nothing will ever go wrong, right? To the moon forever. Or if it does go wrong, we just have to lever more. We just have to, borrow and spend more. And sound familiar? And we can get out of any problem that we're in. Well, guess what? The price of Bitcoin is dropping and dropping, and in each leg, I don't know where the bottom is, guys. At each leg, I'm buying. So I bought it 21. I bought it 22. I bought it 21. I bought it 20. I bought it 18.5. My next program buy is at 16.5. I'm buying all the way down, and yeah, I'm selling on the bumps on the way back up. So it's gonna go up and down, right? So I don't trade. I get too emotionally invested in trades, so I don't trade, right? I normally don't do this, but right now the price movement is going to be so extraordinary that the opportunity to make money is going to be so good. If you're patient, let me string this out for you. So I'm buying on the way down because I believe that the price of Bitcoin will, $20,000 is kind of like the real value of a Bitcoin, I think, is between $20,000 and $30,000 right now, like the non-financialized value of a Bitcoin. So with that world framework, I'm saying buying Bitcoin at 16,500 is a good deal, but not a great deal. So if I can buy at 16.5, I'm pretty sure it's going to go to 18.5, so I'm going to sell it at 18.5. And then I'll buy another bit again as it dips down on a dip, and then I'll go up. So if I get burnt on the downside, if the price of Bitcoin keeps going down, but I believe it's going to go back to here eventually because I believe in the product, I believe in the currency, I think it's going to do this. If price goes down, I'm stuck with a bunch of Bitcoin that I got really cheap. Worst things have happened to a guy. Let's say that the price whiplash recovers. So let's say it's been driven way down by all these margin calls, and then some whale comes in and just scoops up all the Bitcoin and goes up to the moon again. Well, then all my program sells are going to happen, and I'll end up with more money than I had before. Not a bad thing for a guy to have, right? I don't think I lose either way right now because I kept some dry powder ready for something like this to happen because it's going to get worse. Everything is going to get worse. The housing market hasn't even crashed yet, guys. Come on. The commercial real estate market hasn't even crashed yet. There are so many bad things that can still happen. It's so awesome. Yeah, it's going to get worse. And crypto is not an island. It's not a safe haven of, of magical fairies and stuff. No, we let all the Wall Street guys in. So they're in here now. They're shorting it. They're longing it. They're buying calls and puts and all kinds of stuff and playing with leverage. And all the levered amateurs just got burnt. Bad. Now, here's the problem. This is the concern that I have that caused me to tighten up a little bit when this started happening. There's a saying in the crypto industry that says, your keys, your coins. What does that mean? There are different types of wallets, right? There are wallets that are custodial wallets. That's a wallet that you own. It's on your computer or on your phone. Not a web-based wallet like Coinbase. A wallet you own on a computer that you're responsible for. That if your hard drive dies and you don't have a backup of your wallet, your coins are gone. This is the equivalent of carrying your life savings in a piggy bank in the trunk of your car. If you leave your trunk unlocked and someone steals your piggy bank, it's gone. There's nobody you can call. There's no way to get it back. There's no deal to be made. It's just gone. If your car is a Pinto and it gets rear-ended and it erupts into a ball of fire, it's just gone. There's nothing you can do. It's just gone. So you got to know what you're doing if you're going to go self-custodial with your coins. The problem is whenever you deposit your coins with an online exchange, or a place like BlockFi, or a place like Gemini, or a place like Gate.io, or anybody else, you no longer control those coins. So what we're seeing is as these projects are imploding, they're restricting withdrawals. They're saying you can't get your money out because your money's gone. But the coins still exist, but the money is gone. So we're going to make this right over time, is what they're saying. So in other words, just like what happened with, what was the name of that exchange that went belly up? The first one that ever failed. I can't think of the name. Somebody tell me the name of the exchange that blew up. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. Oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, an exchange way back early in Bitcoin blew up. And the first thing that you noticed was the price of Bitcoin. So every other place, Bitcoin was like, let's say $10,000. But on this exchange, it was worth $15,000. So in other words, they wanted you to deposit your Bitcoin there so that you could sell it and trade it. So you'd buy Bitcoin over here on the cheap exchange and then move it to this other exchange and make a quick $5,000, right? But then you'd go to withdraw your Bitcoin and you find, I can't withdraw. I can deposit, but I can't withdraw. And at first it was like, we just got to do a verification, make sure you're you. This is a large withdrawal for your account where there's a 24-hour delay to make sure it's legit, that kind of stuff. But then eventually the delays got longer and longer and longer until it was a lockout. And then the exchange went belly up. And when it died, everybody lost their money. It was in Japan, was where this one was based. People literally camped outside. They had their life savings in this thing, and they were camping outside with the signs and stuff, and it was sad. So now, when Bitcoin went up to $70,000, they liquidated some of the coins from the the original exchange that were still held in receivership. The coins that were left were liquidated for money that was used to pay back the original investors. So over time, we made it right. But of course, if those people would have actually had their coins, they would have had far more money than the cash they received, which was the cash equivalent of the coins a decade ago. So that's what they mean when they say we're going to make it right over time. We're not going to give you your coins back. You're going to get something else that's not as good because we don't have the money anymore. Or they're waiting for a snapback. And that's what some of these places are actually they're in trouble, so they're creating more levers. They're going into more debt trying to get out. So it's almost like we made some bad bets, we got burnt. I'm sure it was a one-off, so let's go get some more debt so we can make it all back real quick and pay people off before they know what's wrong. The problem is as the price of Bitcoin goes down, those loans are getting called, and then they're in even worse shape than they were before. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's why I've got pre-programmed buys all the way down. As the price drops, I will keep buying. And then as the price goes up, I will sell to get my capital back and keep the profits as crypto, basically, is what I'm trying to do. So we'll see how well that works out. I've said this before. There's a lot of different reasons that people are into crypto. Some people are in just to make a profit. They just want the US dollar profit. Those people are the people who are really upset right now. There are other people who are in it because it's an alternative monetary base to fiat currencies. It shares some of the weaknesses of fiat currencies in that some coins, not all coins are equal. So some coins, like Dogecoin, there is no limit to the number of Dogecoin that can be created. They're minting Dogecoin all the time. They're not rare. They're not special. Elon likes it, but that's about it, right? So why would you buy a bunch of Dogecoin? It's at 5 cents right now if you want to buy it. If it goes to 10 cents, you doubled your money. It was at 71 cents at its high. You could be a millionaire. There were people who had millionaire Dogecoins that got them when they were like, a tenth of a penny or whatever, or a hundredth of a penny, and they were mining them with their graphics card, and they got all these Dogecoin, and they just held on to them forever, forgot they had them. And then all of a sudden they realized they have all this Dogecoin and they were a millionaire. Yeah, I'm a millionaire. Well, they're not anymore because they didn't sell it, of course. Because nobody sells at the top. Why would you do that? I didn't sell at the top. I should have, but I didn't. So my position on crypto has not changed. I have been through all 4 of the previous 70% drawdowns in Bitcoin. At least 99 different times, Bitcoin's obituary has been written. Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is going to zero. Bitcoin, this just proves that Bitcoin is an unsustainable blah, 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 blah. Doesn't prove anything of the sort. Nothing about Bitcoin has changed from yesterday, from last month, from last year. Look at the miners. So we have seen a little bit of a pullback in mining. We're only going to have an increase in the amount of Bitcoin mined by 0.5% in 3 days now, instead of 0.8%. The price of Bitcoin has dropped 33% in 48 hours, and the people who are spending real US dollars to mine Bitcoin are not pulling back. Why? That's the security of the network. That's proof of work. So all these people who are like, we need a proof of stake coin, because that's going to be the environmental way to do crypto. Let me tell you something. When it comes to, you're burning energy to mine Bitcoin. Energy is one of the most hottest commodities on the market right now. If you're invested in energy or power generation, that's the only reason I'm only down 10% in my retirement account, is because I moved 70% of it into frickin' minerals and oil. I got lucky. A lot of people didn't do that. And as a result, wow, I'm only down 10%. After inflation at 17%, I'm only down 27%. Wow, isn't that great? Yeah, my crypto's down a lot more than that, right? Well, shouldn't you feel bad about that? No. I've got plenty of time, first of all. So maybe if I was, 65 years old and this is my retirement and I put it all in, which you shouldn't do, but if you did, I'd probably be a little worried then. But here's the thing with Bitcoin. We're going to go into this is a Bitcoin cycle. It happens. It's happened before. I believe it will happen again. What is the next big thing that's going to pump the price of Bitcoin to the moon? Who the hell knows? It could just be Bitcoin itself. It could be an implosion of the dollar. All of a sudden, the Fed is like, we need central bank digital currencies now to preserve the place of the dollar in the world economy. Did you hear this last week? When the Fed is saying that, they're not ready to put a central bank digital currency out. They haven't even finished their white papers yet. But now they're like, we need this now or we're in trouble. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of pieces on the chessboard moving very quickly right now. Crypto is one of them. Crypto is outside of the control of any government. Bitcoin is. There is no government on this planet that can control Bitcoin. They can control your ability to change it into other currencies. They can control whether you mine it or not, maybe. But they can't control you owning it. They can't stop you from owning it. You can memorize your key. You can literally memorize the string of characters, and you have your Bitcoin in your head at that point. Your head is the wallet. Wouldn't recommend that. Don't do that. But you get what I'm saying. It can't be seized. It can't be taken from you. It can only be willfully given. So the conversation that Roger and I were having, I said, in some ways, the world we live in today feels like serfdom. Feel like, there's the Lord of the land, and, you're doing your bit, and you're paying your taxes, and as long as you are a good little farmer who pays his taxes, you'll be allowed to keep enough of your harvest to feed your family, maybe to bank a little bit, but after a lifetime of work, maybe you'll own something, but not enough that you would challenge the Lord, basically. Not enough that you're not going to have transformational wealth in your lifetime. It's not going to happen. You can't do it. We have a whole group of Gen Z kids that just grew up on stimmies, all these stimulus checks and everything. And they took all that money, they put it into crypto, and they got their Robinhood accounts, and they put it in the stock market, and all these things. And then it exploded, and they were wealthy, and they got to feel good. And wow, this is amazing. I've made so much money. It's so easy to be a successful American. I love it. We should worry about things that don't matter, like pronouns. And then all of a sudden, reality comes in and says, nope, we're going to take all your gains away, and we're going to take 17% of what you're worth every year from now on. Have a great life. The Fed wants to get inflation back down to 2%, right? That doesn't mean that the prices are going to go back down to where they were and then have a 2% increase. No. The prices will stop where they're at and only have a 2% increase going forward. Some of the inflation that we've seen is going to come out as energy prices work themselves out over time. A lot of it is not. Guys, once people get used to paying $7 for $8, $9 for a hamburger, I bought a can of Red Bull on the way into the studio today. And yeah, I bought it at a gas station. Paid $6 for a can of Red Bull. It was a big can, but $6. It's a good deal at the store now when pop is 3 for $15. If you want to get a 12-pack of soda, 3 for $15 is a great deal. When I was a kid, my dad would buy a 24-pack of soda, and he would split it between me and my sister. And we would each have to pay him, what was it, like $1 and a quarter for our soda. Because you could buy a 24-pack for $2.50. Did the cost of making the soda go up in real inputs? Like, does it require more aluminum for the cans now, or is the box thicker, or is there more soda in a can? No. So then why is the price, 24-pack, a great deal on it would be $10, right? Why has the price gone from $2.50 to $10 in 30 years? What causes that? Well, it's a decrease in the value of the dollar. The purchasing power of the dollar has gone down that much, which is causing the price of everything to go up. And yes, there is supply and demand. This is what Roger and I were talking about, the supply and demand. So like your house. Well, he says, well, don't you want assets that go up in value? Well, to do that, you have to have inflation. Okay, So you mean like a house, right? Goes up in value over time just by the mere fact that it exists. Does that seem normal to you? Yeah. No. Why on earth would anything go up in value just by existing? Your car doesn't go up in value by existing. Your tennis shoes don't go up in value simply by existing. Why would a house? Why? Well, now, if you improve your house, if you put new carpet in and new floors and you paint it and you do up the yard all nice outside, makes it more appealing, then you've added some value to the house, therefore the price could go up. But I mean, if it's literally shouldn't, if we're being honest, if your house is just sitting there, shouldn't the value be going down because you're using up the livability? You're wearing out the carpet. You're nicking up the paint. You're scratching up the floors. The kitchen is getting dated every day. Styles are changing. Your kitchen is going to be the avocado green one soon. Shouldn't the value of your house go down over time unless you do something to keep it up? But we all expect assets to go up in price just always. Why? Because of inflation. Because the value of the asset isn't changing. It's the value of the dollar that's changing. How long can that go on before you have to do something about the dollar? Well, the Fed, I think, might be saying that we're getting close to the time they need to do something about the dollar, and they see a central bank digital currency as the way to do that. It's going to be a devaluation, a new currency, basically, a new dollar. I saw, it was a funny meme that said, have you guys actually seen the new US dollar? The redesign? It's pretty cool, right? First time in years they've redesigned the dollar, and then the meme says, and it's a $20 bill. the new $1 bill is a 20. Hey, how about that? Yeah, not so far off. You know, the central bank digital currency can do that. So, I don't know. So how would crypto survive in that? Again, the challenge with crypto is adoption. Crypto is down because it's measured in dollars. But what if it wasn't? What if you could go buy a new Ford truck with crypto? And I'm not saying that the Ford truck is valued at $30,000, so they want $30,000 worth of crypto. What I'm saying, what if that truck was priced in Bitcoin? I want this much Bitcoin for this truck. Okay. Like, it would be like saying, what if it was priced in gold? You know, how many ounces of gold would a truck be worth? And then why would that change? Because the truck maybe has more features? Or maybe because it's a newer design than the older ones, or, you know, fewer miles, I don't know. You know, but what is it? How much gold or silver would it take to buy a truck? How much crypto would it take to buy a truck? Not priced in dollars, but priced in crypto. And that's what's missing. That hasn't happened yet. When that happens, what would cause that to happen, let's say? Well, a currency collapse would certainly cause people to start looking at barter and other things again in ways they hadn't looked at it before. We're not close to that yet, I don't think. You know, so we got lots of time. Like I said, guys, we got time. We got time for Bitcoin to go through many more cycles like this. I just got to get better about selling the highs. I always think it's going to keep going up, so I never want to sell it. Now, granted, if you just hold through all the highs and lows, you do pretty good. But I want to do better, right? Don't we all? Don't we all? All right, so I've talked about this for a while. Let me jump into questions here, see what you guys have to say about it, and see if there's anything else that maybe you guys want to talk about that's not crypto related. All right, Ron. Thor, is there any indication whales are selling their Bitcoins or Ethereum? Are they buying? I am holding my coins. I would just feel more comfortable knowing the big guys are doing. Oh, hell no, they're not holding nothing. The big guys are playing this like a fiddle. Right now, they are liquidating. They liquidated probably around 24,000, 25,000, and now they're buying all the way down and laughing the whole time. They're not going to buy too aggressively. They want it to keep going down. So what you're seeing is really low volume right now on the exchanges. You're not seeing lots of transactions happening, and the weight of those transactions is negative. So the overall, there's more sellers than there are buyers overall at all prices. Of course, prices meet in the middle at some point, and I expect that price to go down lower than it is now, but I also expect to see spikes up. Usually a trading range with Bitcoin can be anywhere from $3,000 down to $500. Low volatility usually means a smaller trading range, but we're seeing, low volume usually means a smaller range. So in other words, the fewer buyer and sellers there's not a lot of momentum, so it doesn't go up and down, but we're seeing huge transactions. So when there is a sell, the candle is like thump, or then it's like the buy is like thump on the other side of the candle, because we have big guys with big swords fighting. It's not little guys with their little wallets on their phones buying and selling over time. So I usually put about a $2,000 space between my buy and sell at about a half a Bitcoin, so that way, if it goes up, I make $1,000, and then it's worth the $250 in fees that you have to pay for the trade and everything else. You're at least making enough profit to make it worth the risk of doing it. But yeah, I don't trade at $100 intervals or things like that. A couple thousand at a time. Hey, Aaron, good to have you. All right, let's see, Matt. Part of houses going up is land value goes up as well. Cars are made every day. Land is not expanding any more than there is. This is true. The development of land costs money, but I guess you could say the same thing for a neighborhood. So yes, if you want to live in Linden Estates, you will pay a lot of money for a house in Linden Estates. But if you want to live in Benson, for those of you not in the Omaha area, if you want to live in a much older, turn of the century built neighborhood, you can get that land real darn cheap. You can buy empty lots in North Omaha for like $5,000. But if I want to buy the same lot in Gretna, it's going to cost me $30,000. Gretna is the up-and-coming place in the area where all the people are building. Sarpy County, anyway. So, yeah, if you want to buy land in a really nice place, it's going to cost you money where everybody else wants to build. It's a supply and demand thing. But I don't think land prices don't always go up. In fact, they can go down, especially if they're neglected or in high crime areas. Again, I don't think you should expect the price. There's no more land being made, right? There's also no less land. There's no land being destroyed either. So why should the price of land change? You can change based on improvements, land developed, maintained, neighborhood associations, neighborhood patrols, things like that. Keeping crime under control, keeping the graffiti down, making sure everyone has nice place to live. Okay, I could see that elevating a property value, or the opposite, high crime area, people throwing Molotov cocktails and burning buildings down. That's going to depress the value of the area a little bit, right? So I could see that going both ways, but the base value of the land, there is no reason the base value of land should go up or down. That is, and this is what I was trying to get to with Roger. There's nothing about an asset intrinsically that makes it gain value or makes it lose value. It's as valuable as it is, right? The only things that make things gain or lose value are supply and demand. So if there is a huge demand for something and there's a limited supply of it, the price will go up, right? Now, then this is where it gets wonky, because then you get monetary inflation. So the price goes up. What's the price? The price is denominated in a monetary unit, and the monetary unit has a value. So this is why people get so bent out of shape trading Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, because you're actually trading two currency pairs. You're trading, a great example would be, to put this in perspective, let's not say you're buying Bitcoin for dollars. Let's say you're trading Bitcoin for Ethereum. So now you're concerned about the price of Bitcoin and the price of Ethereum. So the price of Ethereum can go up and down, and the value of Bitcoin can go up and down. So now it gets a much more dynamic, because we perceive the dollar to be stable, right? So when you're trading for dollars, well, the dollar is stable. It stays the same. So all you have to do is worry about one pair, right? When in actuality, in the last year, your dollar has lost 17% of its value. So in that environment where the dollar has lost 17% of its value and Bitcoin has lost 70% of its value, Bitcoin's only lost, what, 53% of its value? Okay. Still not great, but looks a little better. Or conversely, if you're a business owner like me, wow, this year so far, we're pretty much even year over year. We're not seeing the record growth that we've saw in the last couple of years. Actually, we're down when you think about it because of inflation. We're down 17% because we're even year over year. We're doing the same business this year that we did last year, but our costs are up and the value of the money is lower. So the value that we're receiving for every transaction is actually lower. We're providing the same level of service, even at a higher cost in some cases, but the value of the currency we're getting is less. Ouch, right? So, yeah, it feels a little bit like serfdom, where you work your whole life to get ahead, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the game, the rules change, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no one you can appeal to. You just got to bank on the rules changing, but how can you protect yourself from the rules changing when every asset class is dominated by the people who make the rules? So crypto is the only asset class. Precious metals also. Crypto is portable, precious metals not so much, but same concept. They have an intrinsic value. I think Bitcoin has an intrinsic value based on the network it's built upon. Now, I could be proven completely wrong. There are people who believe the exact opposite of that. That they think that there's no difference between Bitcoin and any of the other crap coins out there. It's just there's more fools who believe in Bitcoin like Thor. Totally possible, right? Completely possible. It's also completely possible that governments are going to screw up everything about monetary governance. And we're going to end up in a great big fat war over it. Which do you think is more likely? So I don't know. So what times like this, the housing crash is coming, right? So just get ready for it. It's already starting to happen. We're already seeing sentiment dropping. I saw a chart the other day that said the home builders' expectations are up here and the home buyers' expectations are down here. And so eventually those are going to goal seek. And the home builders are going to realize that there ain't no buyers, and they're going to realize all their inputs are up, and they're going to build less houses because they're expensive to build and they can't make a lot of money on them, which is going to cause a shortage, which will cause the price to go up, which will cause the market to find equilibrium again. So we're in a cycle. It's a cycle like everything else, guys. Now, the cycle is exacerbated by the Federal Reserve trying to smooth out the bumps, right? They don't want the busts. They don't want the recessions and the depressions and things like that. But they don't seem to be too concerned when things are going like explosively well. Then they kind of leave that alone. Human nature, right? But Bitcoin has all the nastiness. You're getting punched. This is super recession, maybe Bitcoin depression for a couple years. I mean, you're getting the hangover of a liquidity fueled beer party, like a frat party. This is the hangover from it. And once we shake out the weak hands and the people who had the scams go bankrupt and the people who took unprotected risks are punished for doing so, when Bitcoin comes back, it will come back with people that are inherently better, which should make the currency more stable, which should make the ecosystem more reliable, which should increase the value of Bitcoin. It's creative destruction. It has to happen. You have to crush the people, the businesses that shouldn't be alive. And when you crush those businesses, it frees up the ability for better businesses to grow and expand, or for new businesses to fill that void with people who have different ideas, better ideas, new ideas. That's how you get growth. That's how you get creation. It's a creative destruction. You've got to have the destruction, or you can't have the creation. Otherwise, you just end up with a bunch of zombies walking around. That's what Japan looks like right now. Watch Japan, guys. Japan, whenever communism fails, whenever now modern monetary theory fails, they're always going to say, we didn't go big enough. That was the problem. We didn't do enough. We should have gone bigger. Well, Japan has gone as big as you can possibly go. And now they're stuck. They guarantee that the rate of a Japanese bond will not go over 0.25%. And if it tries to go over 0.25%, the Japanese government will buy as many bonds as required. They will print money to buy as many bonds as required to keep it at 25%, or a quarter point. Not 25, 0.25%. Sorry, 25%. Woo! I'll buy. So they're going to keep it there no matter what. So the problem is, the government is guaranteed they will print as much money as they have to print to keep the bond market in check. Well, now they've got inflation problems. And the more money you print, the worse inflation gets. You can't have both. They can't have no inflation and a controlled bond market. So if they get inflation under control by cutting the money supply, the bond market goes through the roof. They don't want that. They can't have both. They're trying to have both right now. So eventually, something is going to break in Japan. And when it breaks, it's going to break bad. There isn't going to be any fixing it. There's going to be living through it. You're going to have people talking about living through the great break of Japan. It's going to be rough. So if we don't start allowing that creative destruction here in America, if we don't start letting that happen, it's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. So, like I said, if you're in a house and the housing market crashes, be where you want to be right now. That's the other thing. People are like, well, what's going to cause the housing market to crash? Well, how about interest rates at 6-7% and you have a 2 or 3% in the house you're in? So if you want to move, the delta in mortgage price, the change in your mortgage price is astronomical. So the average home price has gone up, for the monthly payment has gone up like $400 or $800 or something like that in the last month, just from the interest rate change. So a lot of people just can't afford to move now. So you're not going to sell your house because you can't afford to buy a house, even with the proceeds from the house you sell, unless you want to downsize or maybe go rent. But I was just reading this morning that rents in all the popular places are way up. But across the board, the averages, they're up like 20% year over year to rent a place. Getting a little note taped to your door when it's time to renew. Your rent's going up. So rents are up. So you can't even cash out and rent for a while, wait for the crash to happen, jump back in, because you're going to get burnt on rents. So be comfortable where you're at. Ride it out. If you're in a house, stay in the house. I'd like to buy a bigger house. We might things change, right? So I'd like to have a bigger house to accommodate some of these things that are going to be changing potentially in the future for us. And yeah, I'd like to do that now, but I can't because I can't afford it. And it's not going to get more affordable from a loan perspective right now, right? And all of my investments are down, and there's no safe place to hide. So right now I'm working on building my business, guys. Right now I'm working on investing in the things that are going to make money tomorrow. The things that aren't denominated by a stock market. We need good people, and I mean amazing people at Schrock. And we need products that are solid, that work, that do what they say they're going to do. We need to make sure we're focused on understanding that we are not perfect for everybody. If you are a bargain basement dollar shopper and you're going to the Dollar Tree for your paper towels, you're not our customer. We love you. You're a great person, I'm sure. I'd love to have you watching the show, but you're probably never going to buy a product from us because you value the price more than the service. So we are working on reducing our expenses, cutting the fat out of the business, making sure that it's running as leanly as possible so that we pull through this as a business and come through on the other side when maybe some of our competitors don't. If creative destruction is allowed to happen, I want to make sure we're on the creation side and not the destruction side. That's about the only thing I can do. And I'm really thankful that I can do that. I don't know what's going on. Have you guys seen all this farm stuff happening? Like the cows? You see the video of the cows that died? Like the 3,000 cows in Kansas? They all died. They think it might be heat related. Somebody else said it might be like a bovine flu or something. All the same, I guess I'm not a cattle farmer, so maybe somebody in the audience knows more than me, but what would cause 3,000 cows to die overnight at the same time? Like if you put 3,000 humans outside in the heat, they would all eventually drop dead, but they wouldn't all drop dead at the same time, right? And if you had a respiratory disease like COVID, they all got COVID in the heat. Well, they'll eventually drop dead, right? But they're not all going to drop dead at the same time. So I'm thinking, like, was it bad water? Like, what's something that all the cows would have done at about the same time that would have caused them all to die at the same time like that? I don't get it. Man, it's interesting to look at all the food plants catching on fire. The baby formula factory got shut down again because it got flooded. So parents out there, there's no reprieve in sight there. The baby formula shortage is going to keep on keeping on past July when it was promised to be over, of course. Let's see. So yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all I've got for today, guys. So if there's any other questions, this will be the last call for questions. If there's anything you want to add on there. One of the things that we are doing at Schrock is we're making sure that our products and services are delivering as much value as possible for our customer base so that we keep the customers that we have and we earn your recommendations. There is no greater gift that you can give us than to recommend your friends or your family members to Schrock so that we can take care of them as well. Like I said, we're not a good fit for everybody. We're not, in some ways, we're not the cheapest place in town. In other ways, we are. It's kind of weird. Do you know a maintenance checkup costs $200 at Best Buy, but it's only $95 at Schrock? When did that happen? Our antivirus is a little more expensive, but it's way better. We have things like, my mom got saved by this. My mother got the Wave browser somehow remote installed on her computer. It's not a virus technically, so Sophos didn't stop it. You might want the Wave browser, so it allowed it. It was a potentially unwanted program that was then later weaponized to try to allow someone to remote into her computer. Well, they tried to remote in, and Sophos blocked the remote session, saying remote sessions are not allowed by Schrock unless you're connecting to Schrock. Why did we do that? Well, because people like my mom were going to get remoted into and get scammed, hacked, stolen from, whatever, and we can stop it from happening. Downside, why didn't we do, we've been able to do this for a long time. We just recently started doing it because it's getting so bad that people like my mom even are getting scammed. So we needed to do it to keep our people safe. The downside of why we didn't do it earlier is it looks really shady. So nobody can remote in and help you with your IT except for Schrock? Really? Are you sure this is completely for my security, Thor? Or is it more of a, I'm now a slave to Schrock Innovations. If I need help, I'll have to buy it from you. So the answer to that is, if you need to have somebody else remote into your computer, just give us a call. We can disable the remote protection for your computer so that other people can remote into it. If that makes sense. So, all right. I don't see any questions, so I think that means we're probably good to go here. So I'm going to get on with the Father's Day festivities. I have no idea what's planned for me today. Get another Red Bull on the way home, so I'm prepared for it. All right, guys, have a great weekend. I hope you enjoy it. Stay cool out there. It's going to get really hot. Please be careful. Make sure you're getting hydrated. Stay out of the sun, all the above. And we'll look forward to seeing you all again next week. Have a great day.